Hi, I'm in Bible Story Volume 2, and we're at Part 3, Story 3, Walking Through the Sea. That's what it says. Get my trusty thing, my trusty bookmark. Okay. Early the next morning, even before the sun was up, the children of Israel were astir. All wanted to get their way. All wanted to get on their way as soon as they could. As quickly as possible, the animals were fed and the children were given their breakfast. Then, as the pillar of cloud moved slowly forward, these those at the head followed, followed it, and the caravan moved on. Of course, they all expected to go straight to Canaan, a journey that would have taken only a few days at most. But when they reached a little place called Etham, Etham, less than 150 miles from the border of Canaan, orders came from Moses that they were to turn south and go through the way of the wilderness of the Red Sea. Orders came, and they were 150 miles from the border. Everybody was surprised, and no doubt many said, "This isn't the way to Canaan." But God had a purpose in leading his people this way. Had they gone direct to Canaan, they would have had to pass, I'm going to turn the page, through the land of the Philistines. Philistines, who would have fought them. And God knew that if these poor people, just out of slavery, should see war too soon, they would lose heart and return to Egypt. So on that, so on, they went in the wrong direction, and or so it seemed. You can imagine how many people watched the pillar of cloud all that day to see whether maybe it would turn back and go where they thought it should go. But it didn't turn. Instead, it moved slowly forward until it came to a place called Pihahiroth. Pihahiroth. Pihiroth. On the shores of the Red Sea. Now Moses told the people to make camp for the night and rest. There must have been a lot of talk as the people prepared the evening meal. And I can, okay, that was me, said Anne. Can I can almost hear someone saying, "Seems to me we're going to Ethiopia, then Canaan, and another nice place to get caught if the Egyptians could come after us. What with mountains on one side and the Red Sea on the other?" And many a little boy probably asked, "Daddy, are we going to sail over the sea in boats? Where are the boats?" Suddenly a cry of alarm was heard. A man pointed back along the way they had come. Far in the distance a cloud of dust is rising. In midst of it in the midst of it was moving figures, men on horseback, chariots, the Egyptians. and everything that the Hebrews had feared is happening. Pharaoh had changed his mind. Not only did he change, not only does he want revenge for the death of his son and for the death of so many of his subjects, but he wanted his slaves back. He had forgotten the plagues, and he was determined to recover that cattle and silver, gold and silver jewelry the Hebrews taken away. You see, when Pharaoh was told that the Hebrews had fled, taking all their cattle with them, he had found it hard to believe. But as the truth dawned on him, he had shouted, "Why have we done this, that we have let Israel go from serving us?" And he made ready his chariots and took his people with him, and he took 600 chosen chariots and all the chariots of Egypt. And he pursued after the children of Israel and overtook them camping by the sea. Now, as the Hebrews see the chariots rushing towards them, they are terrified. They know how cruel the Egyptians can be. They know what fate awaits them from their whips and swords and spears. They rush to Moses and almost shriek at him in their fears. "Why do you bring us out here to die in the wilderness?" In the dark hours, in it is a dark hour for Moses. He too had seen the Egyptians coming, and he knew full well what they will do to him if they catch him. Yeah, an old man. But let me get back to the story. But he was not afraid. He is sure that God has not brought his people this far to let them be killed by the Egyptians. He had not forgotten the great miracle God wrought but a week ago. Okay, God did the miracles no more than a week beforehand that they escaped. And he is sure God will work another now, if need be. "Fear not," he cried bravely to the people. "Fear not, fear ye not, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, which will be shewed to you today. For the Egyptians who ye have seen today, ye shall see them no more forever. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace." Literary King James. And then, of course, down at the bottom, somebody hollering out and saying the Egyptians coming, and Moses, saying, "Hold up, wait, just hold yourself." You got to think, this is 1,000,000 people. It's a lot of people. I mean, the city I got is like 14,000, and you have to double that, like quadruple it. And this is that many people? A lot of people. I just thinking. Okay, let me get back to the story. Even as Moses speaks, something began to happen. The pillar of cloud moves mysteriously toward the onrushing Egyptians and comes and becomes a barrier between them and the frightened Hebrews. As nightfall, the cloud brings dense darkness to the Egyptians while shedding a warm, cheering glow upon the camp of Israel. And now Moses, left alone, kneeled in prayer to God, telling him all that has happened. But this is not only the only time for prayer, but for action. Wherefore criest thou unto me? God said to him. Speak unto the children of Israel that they go forward. Suddenly a wind begins to blow. And what a wind! It roars in from the east like a great fury, throwing up huge clouds of and sand, huge clouds of sand in the desert, and lightning and lashes the Red Sea into foaming mass of white-capped waves. Standing on the shore, his rod in his outstretched hand, Moses watches the tremendous sight. For this is no ordinary storm. God is working through the wind. He okay, excuse me. He is cutting a path through the sea. Down, down goes the water until the sea bottom is uncovered. Now, straight ahead, from shore to shore, is a wide strip of dry land. Forward, cried Moses, knowing that God had made this way of escape for his people. Forward, excuse me, cried the leaders of Israel, passing the word of command. Forward, everybody forward. And then, of course, I like this version, but I also like the Prince of Egypt's version and the whale that goes by. That was the cool part in that animation. But let me get back to the story. Okay. I wonder who goes first. It takes courage, a lot of courage, with those towering walls of water on either side. What a pity what a pity we don't know. What a pity we don't know. Okay. Perhaps a little boy leading his dog. Perhaps a brave little girl anxiously to save her baby sister. I don't know, but somebody is first to step into the strange, windswept venue through this stormy sea. Now another pluck up courage to go, and then another and another, while the rest of the line on the shore in thousands waiting their turn. Hurry, hurry is the word on everybody's lip, for nobody knows when the wind would stop blowing. Nobody knows when the water will come crashing down again. Nobody knows when the Pharaoh will discover what is going on and dash after them. Now there are hundreds of people, half walking, half running, along the path through the sea, with oxen, cows, donkeys, goats, sheep, and dogs, moving forward with them as fast as they can and getting in everybody's way. It is a marvelous, never to be forgotten sight. Moses standing tirelessly with God outstretched, his long white beard blowing this way and that by the raging wind, and dark green barricades of water with foam and spray swirling up from their tossing summits, the anxiously anxious, the anxious crowds rushing on to safety. A worried old man whacked a stubborn donkey. A frightened mother dragged her scared children. Two careless boys throwing stones at the wall of water, and the whole amazing scene lightened up by a bright glow of the pillar of fire. Could Israel ever forget this night? Ooh, that would have been interesting. That it was at night and the pillar of fire. And then, of course, the illustration has little boys throwing the water, throwing the rock at the water. Interesting. Okay, that was part 3, story 3, and that's it for right now. And we'll start with the next story here in a bit and see what happens. It's getting interesting. Don't forget, you got the 10 Commandments, and then you got the Prince of Egypt. These are in there. Adaptations, but they're in there.